Hey guys, my name is Lita,
And my name is Henry.
and welcome to the Foreign Pansit podcast. This will
And
be episode 3.
yes, this is
Yes.
episode 3.
And we will be talking about our career. So yes.
We will be talking about some Q&As about our careers. Just for a quick context, I am a disability support worker, and
I am a registered nurse.
so there are a lot of differences between our career, but the similar thing about this is that we both take care of people together.
That's right.
So there are a few questions and answers that we will be going through, and I think it will be a bit interesting to talk about the differences and also the similarities that both career offer. Can you describe your typical day as a registered nurse?
It depends on where you work. So I work in ICU, and I think it's very routine based depending on the shift. I personally like doing night shift. So at the start of the shift, I take handover, which will take about 15 minutes, just knowing everything about the patient, the condition, everything that happened during the day. And then after that, I talk to my patient, do my usual assessment, and I give the medications as needed. And it really differs because sometimes the patient is more critical, meaning I have to do extra things like giving blood products, going down for an x-ray or a CT scan, or talking to the doctors a lot, making sure a patient is okay. You never know what could happen, but usually towards the end, around 5:30 in the morning before I clock out at 7, I wash the patient, give the patient a full body wash, a shower, and change all the linen and everything, just getting them ready for the day and hand over to the morning shift. So that's what happens in a 12-hour. Just in between, there's just a lot of medications, changing lines, things like that, just to make sure the patient doesn't get any pressure injuries. But what about for you?
So that was for night shift nursing, right? Yeah. For me, I mostly do day shift. But for me, the part that is very different compared to yours is that yours is consistently day-to-day basis. So your work is very routine, while mine is on demand. On demand means you only have work, you only have shift when your manager or when the client needs you. So I think that is the key differences. And because of that, my role, my responsibilities are constantly changing every single day. So there are days that I will be helping the clients with their transportation to social activities, while there are days where I work in independent living homes for clients, and I help them with cleaning the house, making food for them, helping them to get ready for bed, things like that. So it's really different from my job, but I would say the majority of the time, my day-to-day basis would probably be client transportation. I get to the client's house and then I take them to their day activities. It seems kind of chill, but we'll talk to the challenges later on about both of our roles, and that's when I'll talk a bit more about the challenges. But yeah, it's mostly just helping the clients getting back to their life that they're not able to do by themselves because they are, physically or mentally unable to do so by themselves. And yeah, my day-to-day basis is just all over the place. What inspired you to pursue nursing and, for me, disability support work?
For me, actually, at the start, I wanted to be a doctor, but because I come from a family of nurses and they've inspired me pretty much to stick with healthcare. And back then, I was talking to my dad about going into medical school through the pathway of medical science and university. And then my dad just gave me an idea how you should pursue nursing because then you would understand what it's like to care for people closer to the patients. Because I know doctors, they do a lot for the patients, prescribing, figuring out the diagnosis for the patient. They're very busy. But in terms of nurses, they are the ones that are physically always there for the patients. They give them medicines. They can see the progress from when the patient is quite sick till the patient gets better. So my dad told me to do nursing first, just to understand how it is like to work with patients, and then after that pursue medicine. But then when I did my nursing and then I did all of my placements and I pretty much fell in love with the career. I feel a lot of happiness and fulfillment whenever I take care of patients, and they're very grateful for the care that I give them. And for me, I think I'm better off dealing with patients closely than actually figuring out what's wrong with them, if that makes sense. So for me, that's why I wanted to be in nursing. And I think it's a very stable job. Like, you can get a job anywhere you go with nursing. That's why I chose nursing.
Yeah, that is true. As for me, why I got inspired for my career, it wasn't much of an inspiration. I used to come from a construction industry background, and I did a lot of construction work on site and in the office. And I fell out of construction. Like, I lost interest in it, and it took so much of my life away that I thought I want to change career. And she actually recommended me support work, and it's something that you can easily get into and you can stay for a long time. Mostly it's more flexible with your schedule. You can always say yes or no to the shift. You don't have to take the shift all the time. So with construction work, normally I work like mostly nearly 12 hours a day, while with support work, it's on demand, like I said, and not every day that you work 12 hours or 8 hours. Like, it really depends. And obviously that also means that you might not earn as much, but that is actually false. I think that is a stigma that people create, because in the construction industry, you get paid by a salary, and of course that salary increase, but in the support work industry, you get paid per hour.
Yeah.
And because that per hour is so flexible that they count for Saturday rate, Sunday rate, afternoon rate, all of those kind of rates. Yeah. So even if you work for only 18 hours a week, if you're able to get your schedule into those afternoon rates, Saturday rates, and Sunday rates, you earn significantly more than the construction industry. So I would say the main thing that inspired me to change is because how much construction industry has taken away from me, from my life, and support work has given me the leeway, the flexibility to work with around my life.
And also, you need to study for that too.
Oh, yeah. You do need to study for that. You do need to study the certificate for individual support. But even without the certificate, you can get into the job. It's just that with the certificate, you're able to move up from a normal support worker to like a case manager, things like that. So there's a lot of professional progression, and yeah, it's just better than where I used to be.
And as for me as well, with the nurse, it's also not just a salary, it's also paid by the hour, and it increases the more you work. So every year, that per hour salary will increase, and it will also depend on the penalty rate. Like, if you're working on nights, weekends, public holidays, it will change depending on that. So it's also really good, I guess. For the next question, what essential skills do you think are necessary for success in your field?
In my field, I would say showing empathy, communication, and patience. I think patience is the number one virtue in this type of work, because you deal with people who are not able to care for themselves, and because of that, there are a lot of things that you have to be patient on.
Yeah, they get frustrated too.
Yes, they get frustrated at you. They don't know what they're doing. It's not their fault. It's just how they are. And because of that, you can't really blame them. It's not their fault. They don't want to be in that position. They were just born that way, or they might get into an injury that might cause them to become that way.
Yeah.
So, you have to have a lot of patience. You have to have a lot of understanding that this is not their fault.
Yeah.
They don't want to be like this. Right? And that comes to the second part, which is the what did I say again? Patience, communication. Yeah. You have to be very communicative with them. I think communication and patience play a really big role in this type of work. If you want to have patience with them, you also have to have a good communication with them to help you through understanding what they need and what they want. Right? And so they both go hand in hand. What was the other one that I said?
Empathy, communication.
Empathy, yes, that's right. the whole point of support work is to help people who cannot help themselves, right? And empathy is is also another key like characteristics that you need to have for this type of role. So yeah, communication, empathy, and patience. Yeah.
I personally think those are also the main skills or characteristics that you need for my job. But I would like to add, because I'm working in a really critical environment, aside from all those three, I would need the good critical thinking skills. Obviously, the knowledge that you need while working in critical care, it's really important, because anything that you do will essentially affect the patient right away. Like it happens pretty quick when a patient deteriorates where I work. Meanwhile, where he works, it's just a normal day-to-day life. But then with me, I deal with, let's say, cardiac arrest patients or hit and run, or drug overdose, things like that. Like it's just a fine line between staying alive and death. Like you're just in between, and you have to be good with time management skills, critical thinking, and empathy. Really important, because family members will come at you because they're very frustrated. Obviously, they want updates, they want a solution to the problem that their family member is facing while they're on the bed, but you cannot give them an accurate answer as to when their family member will get better. So you just have to give them a shoulder to cry on if they need to, or you just need to know basically what you're doing, because the medications that we use, no, like for other wards, they don't really use it, and they're not aware of how to use it. We have proper training for it. So I think those 5. So what he said, is it empathy, communication,
and
patience, critical thinking, I think is pretty important. And yeah, those are the skills that I need probably.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next one is, what are the biggest challenges you face?
The biggest challenge that I face is probably because you're working with a lot of people with mental health issues and even physical issues. Sometimes your patience can run thin. I think I speak for most support workers when I say that your patience can run thin. Like no matter how much empathy, no matter how much patience you think you have, eventually it runs out, and eventually you get frustrated. You might not necessarily show your frustration to them, but you might bring it home and things happen after that.
Yeah.
The other challenge from my role would be the not inflexible, but like because the hours are too flexible, it's inconsistent. So there are weeks where I work 40 hours a week, the full 40 hours a week, while there are also weeks where I work only 20 hours a week. So the income is not as consistent as nursing, per se. You might have a lot of flexibility with your work, but that doesn't mean that the schedule that they give you will fall into the time that you are available. For example, if the client needs you from 12 to 3 p.m. and you're not available for those times because you have a family event going on, or you have another event that you are joining, it's really difficult to pick up those shifts, and you lose out on those shifts.
Yeah.
So because of that, it makes your schedule very inconsistent, and you don't earn the same every single week. Although that said, the other challenge that I would say is sometimes it can get really difficult having clients who don't have a physical limit on themselves, meaning they might harm others, they might harm themselves, they might even harm you. So you always have to be on your toes in this type of work. You always have to pay attention to them because they cannot take care of themselves and they don't know what they're doing. It's not their fault. So you need to be able to be prepared at all times when you're with them. I mean, you get paid to be there with them anyway, right? Like that's your whole point of work. So honestly, there's not as much challenges. I'm sure there's not as much challenges compared to yours because our line of work is, I would say, a bit easier. and we only have the client for a short period of time, while you have the client for, let's say, 12 hours or 10 hours or 8 hours, right? So, also, we do have a lot of challenges as well. But yeah, I think mostly it's just those points. What about you?
With what you said about there's no physical limit, I agree to that. That is also one of the biggest challenges that I face, because if you're working in this unit, they've got a lot of tubes. Like, for example, they've got a trachea tube to help them breathe, or they've got a drain on their brain that we're trying to drain out pretty much, or like a catheter because he or she cannot pee. But like, there are patients that are, they're very tired, frustrated. They don't understand why they are there. Sometimes delirium comes into play, and then they're just trying to remove everything, and you're just trying to stand there on your toes, just preventing them from doing that, because everything that's connected to them is pretty much saving their lives. But it's like, it's too hard to make them understand, because you want them to understand right away, but that doesn't happen because of their condition that the unit is trying to fix, the doctors are trying to fix, the medications are trying to fix. So what you need to do is to just try your best to survive the whole 12 hours on your toes, making sure that nothing happens to them while they are with you, because nursing is a 24/7 job. It's a continuous care pretty much. That's why we hand over our patients from one nurse to another. Anything that you cannot do on your shift, that's not on you. It's just, it depends on what happens on your shift, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. But for me, that physical limit and also working here is just mentally and physically draining, because you're just always thinking, you're overthinking pretty much. You're thinking of what could potentially happen if my patient does this, what could potentially happen if my patient is allergic to this, or if my patient doesn't make it, what should I tell the family, what should I do? Like, you're always thinking one step ahead, and because of that, you get really, really, really tired. And sometimes we don't have time to even drink water or sit down, and it's just physically and mentally draining. You're tired, and then when you get home, all you do is just sleep, rest. You don't have time to do any physical activity because you're just trying to recharge pretty much, because your battery is very empty at the end of the day. And although I only work 3 days a week, it's 12 hours for each shift, and it's very, very long, and feels like there's not enough rest in between. So for me, the challenge is just the physical and mentally draining, and obviously the
lack of sleep.
Yes.
Next question. How do you maintain a work-life balance given the demands of your role? How many questions have you asked now?
5.
I can't even remember, but we'll probably ask 2 more questions. So this next one is, how do you maintain a work-life balance given the demands of your role?
How do I maintain work-life balance?
Yep.
Well, first thing is, how do I maintain work-life balance?
How do you?
How do I maintain work-life balance? I'm thinking, because I'm also struggling. And I know a lot of you are struggling in maintaining work-life balance. It's not just me. I work, as I said, right now, I work all nights because I think it works best for me. Although for my health, maybe not so much. I don't know how long I'm gonna live because I'm always working nights. I'm running on just adrenaline pretty much, and I'm always tired. So work-life balance is pretty hard, especially with my husband working God knows how many times in a week,
To be fair, I work less hours than you.
Yeah, okay. But
the only thing that made it difficult for us, and I'll talk about it later on when it's my turn. The only thing that's difficult.
Talk about it in your turn. Why are you explaining now?
Because I just want to say it out of the way.
Go on.
But yeah, like my schedule are so weird. Like, I don't work for 8 hours straight per day.
Yeah.
I work 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the in the evening.
Yeah.
So like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Okay. Pretty much what he's saying is he's working whenever.
Yes.
And for example, if I have the day off and I want to go out with him and with our sister, it's so hard because you're like, oh, when are you free? Oh, but I have to pick up this client at night and then I have to do this in the morning. So how can we spend time together? For example, if we want to go to the city, we want to eat out or watch a movie. It's like it cuts it short. And then I realize, oh, let's not go. You know what? Let's not go because you're gonna go anyway. I mean, that's just my thing, okay? Disclaimer, this is just me and my opinions. Please don't hate me. But it's just difficult because he doesn't have a set schedule. So we have this app in our phones called Time Tree, and then we put all of our shifts, and then we look there. Oh, okay, you don't have much going on this day. Let's do something. But that rarely happens.
Yep.
Yeah. In terms of work life, Henry and I were we're pretty much introverts. We like staying home because especially now we're in our saving era where we're trying to save up, less going out, putting our money towards a goal in the future. And that's why I think it's pretty okay, I guess, to just work and then relax at home, chill, maybe find at least once a week to go out. But yes, for me it looks like that. But for him, I don't know. I think it's quite difficult for him.
For me, my work-life balance is all over the place. At least for your work-life balance, you work 3 days.
I do.
Technically 4 because the last day you sleep the whole day,
That's
or half
right.
a day.
Yeah.
So technically 4, right?
Yeah.
So like you have the other 3 days or 3.5 days that you're free. You can do whatever on those days. For me, the hardest part is trying to find a schedule that is suitable for us. Like I said earlier, my schedule is very inconsistent from week to week basis, and I have shifts that have breaks in between. So it's very difficult to handle that. And honestly, there's no correct answer except to just
cope with it.
Cope with it. Or if you feel like you have done too much already, just
don't accept anymore.
Just don't accept any more shifts. Like,
or to the ladies out there, you can fight with them. I'm joking.
No, don't fight.
You can argue, you're not spending time with me. I'm joking.
Anyways, yeah, I think there's hardly a balanced work-life relationship with support work. It's very inconsistent. It's very difficult, and I can only give advices. I can't really tell you that, hey, there is a work-life balance, because there really isn't. Yeah, people think that there is a work-life balance, but it really isn't. It's flexible, I understand. It's flexible in a way where you can say no to shifts. And then, it's flexible in a way where you can structure out what day you want to work and what day you don't want to work.
Yeah.
But if you don't have enough shifts and you want to take up more shifts, those breaks in between kind of ruin your day.
Yeah.
So even if it's a 2-hour shift, it might feel like it's a 4-hour shift, because of those breaks in between. It feels like you can't really do anything else in those 2 hours break.
Yeah.
So like you finish one client and then you have to jump over to the other client right away. So that's just how it is.
In conclusion, there's no work-life balance, but
there is sort of a work-life balance. I just take the day off.
Yeah.
I just accept the L and then don't work on those days.
I think it's just important to communicate as well.
Yeah.
So I just say, oh, honey, I think I'm getting tired of this schedule. What can we do about it? I just have to be open about it. And then he would ask me anyway, should I take up this shift? They're asking me if I can do this shift. And then we look at the schedule in a bigger picture, and then we would say, oh, okay, it doesn't look too bad. You will have a break in between, or we can still see each other in between, so it's fine. So it's just communication, I think, because at the end of the day, if you've got goals that you're working hard for, and you're becoming an adult, you have to work anyway. You cannot just stay at home and do absolutely nothing and just spend time together. That's not how adult life works.
That's not how it is anymore.
Yeah, it's not. We were like that before, but not anymore, because we're getting old. We have to achieve something more, more physical, not just emotional. We're there, we're married, we've got goals that we're sharing now, and I think that's why we're working this hard. It won't be like this forever. That's why you work hard now, and then you'll relax later on.
Yeah, exactly. Also, to add on, let's say
Oh, sorry.
no, it's all right, but I was just gonna say, yeah, like you said, be communicative on the days that you should and shouldn't be working. Like, most of the time I ask her if I'm able to take up the shift, and she would tell me, in my opinion, yes, no, maybe, whatever. But recently, like, because we have had a lot of problems with me taking shifts and not taking shifts. Recently, we have established a rule that, hey, just look at the schedule, try to match it. On the days that she works, I can work. That's a definite 100%. Like, for example, if she does nights, or if she just got home from a night shift that she sleeps for half the day, I can take up shifts on the morning that she sleeps, because she's not doing anything else, right? So we don't necessarily have to be next to each other, because when she wakes up, I'll be there, I'll be home already. She won't even notice. Yeah. So those shifts where I think that she would just sleep, or she has another event that she's gonna do already, then I don't have to worry about asking for her permission. I can just accept it. But on the times that she's off, for example, I think it is important to be communicative about when and if and should I take the shift. Yeah, because that would help a lot.
I mean, again, a disclaimer, this is just because this is our relationship. It works well for us. It would not work well for other people, and that's fine. It's just, we're just telling you our opinion based on how we work our life, pretty much.
Personally, I have had a lot of people who I've worked with in the support work industry, and I've realized that they have done a lot of work, as in it's really difficult for them to balance out their work life, and they have to sacrifice a lot, like not spending time with the family just to take the work, things like that. Like, this is a lot of people. It's not just one or two people. Like, the majority of them would have difficulty with work-life balance if they want to earn money that way. If they don't have problems with not earning enough money, then they don't have to worry too much about it. But if they have savings, they need to spend money on other things where things are getting really expensive now, then I personally think that it's really difficult to have a proper work-life balance with support work. That is the main problem of this industry, but it's not necessarily the end. What's the last question?
Last question. What advice would you give to someone considering a career in nursing or disability support?
I would say, just going back to that point earlier about being communicative with your partner, I would say when you get into this industry, always consider yourself and your family first. And always be communicative about when you should not take the shift. And it's going to be challenging. It's definitely going to be challenging. Nothing is easy, especially in the healthcare field. And especially when you take care of the client. Do not bring work home. You can talk about work. You can talk about how your day been, but don't bring that attitude from work home.
If you're frustrated at work, just leave it at work. You know?
Exactly. Like, your partner has nothing to do with work. It's the people that makes you upset. So don't drag it to her. Don't drag it to him.
That's in terms of work-life balance, pretty much. But in terms of choosing the career path, like, for example, before you study nursing, you will think about, is this really the right career for me? What is my aim? Is your aim fulfillment, emotional fulfillment, like career fulfillment in a way where you earn money consistently? Then yes, nursing is for you. But if you just want to earn and you don't really like talking to people, you don't like taking care of other people, then maybe do something else, because patients can see that. Like, they can really see if you're just there because you want to earn. They can feel they can feel how you take care of them. And this is coming from all of my experience working with different patients from different wards. So I'm just saying, if you want to be a nurse, you have to be caring. That should be inside you already. Hardworking, very communicative, not only to your patients but also to your colleagues and your managers. And you should be willing to give up majority of your time while you're studying, because you will have a lot of placements, especially here in Australia. I think they require you to have 800 hours of placements, nursing placements, for about 3 years. And you just have to be willing to make these sacrifices, because at the end of the day, it's very rewarding. Like if you're a nurse or someone from the healthcare industry, there's a lot of schemes out there that is available to you, like, you know, first home buyer. There's a lot of schemes. Like if you want to achieve something later on, if you're a nurse or a healthcare worker, it's a plus, you know, because they know that you have consistent income and that you will be able to pay off whatever you want to have. So it's just that you just have to have those qualities inside you for you to be able to survive in this career, I guess.
I agree.
And anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, if you're from YouTube, or for listening if you are from Spotify. And we will see you again for another
next episode.
podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.